Good morning, my loves. Dijana here from Dijana.org. And this morning I'm going to record an episode 20 of the Mentoring for Awakening series. And I'm going to give you an overview of this idea that has been coming into the collective consciousness more and more. And it is the idea of heaven on earth, or us living or creating a heaven on earth. So I thought that I would first say that no, I'm not going biblical on you. However, it is important to acknowledge this concept because it's relevant to what's going on with this shift of collective consciousness. So, I had a look at what is the actual meaning of heaven. And most commonly, heaven is referred to as the good place the soul goes to after physical life. It is also the place where deity reside, like God, angels, other goddesses, other gods, and so on and so forth. Now, other names for heaven, if this is easier for you, is say paradise, nirvana, Zion, the promised land, etc. Pardon me, excuse me, bless me. So if you wanted to refer to this conversation as in paradise on earth, if that resonates with you better, or if you want to say nirvana or Zion on earth, that's okay too. Of course, use a language that is most resonant with you. So with this awakening of collective consciousness, with the collective waking up to this inner knowing that there is, or more like it's actually not like a learning, it's like more like a remembering. As the collective consciousness is remembering that there are different aspects to us as individuals, not just the physical body and not just the mind and our thoughts, that we are much more intrinsic. We have a divine nature, we have our emotional body. And so as we learn to sort of, or as we remember all of these different aspects of ourselves, and as we begin to integrate these different aspects of ourselves into a union, an equal and harmonious collaboration within, suddenly this concept, this idea, sorry, excuse me for a minute, this idea of heaven on earth, of creating heaven on earth, begins to emerge more and more and more in the collective consciousness. So I want to offer to you potentially why and what I'm observing, what I'm remembering, and how this is relevant to this massively transformational time on this planet in terms of our collective evolution, in terms of the new trajectory that we are taking, in terms of creating and being able to exist collectively in a higher frequency paradigm, most commonly referred to as 5D or New Earth. And of course, New Earth then becomes or is relevant to this idea of heaven on earth. Another reason why heaven on earth has actually emerged more within the collective consciousness is because, of course, 5D, if you know anything about this teaching or about this channeling, about this deep knowing and remembering that many are sharing these days, is that 5D or fifth dimensional frequency and consciousness, as in awareness, is very closely related to Christ consciousness. Again, not biblical per se, but Christ consciousness in terms of stepping outside of the separation polarity and moving towards unity consciousness as one, where we are consciously creating the highest possible potential for everybody, right? So we are learning how to collectively relearning, or actually the correct ways to say it is that we are unlearning the 3D paradigm programs and conditioning, and we are remembering and allowing our divine selves to fully integrate into our conscious existence and then lead the way forward. And because Christ consciousness or unity consciousness, which is the transcendence of this polarity existence in the 3D patriarchal reality or matrix, is so prevalent, and it's such a strong, one of the key aspects of 5D, New Earth. It becomes, or it almost even makes sense that there is some sort of a correlation between this unity consciousness, unity Christ consciousness, and this expression of paradise or heaven on earth. Yeah? Now, one of the other so what I'm really doing right now, just so that you understand, is I'm bringing together different ideas, right? Different realities that come forth in the form of channeling ideas, truths, different dimensions, possibilities from those higher frequencies or higher realms, if you will, and sharing this with you to get you to understand what heaven on earth might be like if we continue to follow this trajectory into high frequency bands, into a different dimensional reality. So Christ consciousness or unity consciousness is a big one. And the biggest thing about that is actually not about devotion to anything external outside of ourselves, but it's about this very strong foundation of unity, of equality, of balance and harmony. This is what's really important about that. Now, but the most important characteristic around all of this is that the transcendence, as in the change, starts within. So there is that inner awakening that I mentioned at the beginning, that remembering our divine nature, going within and reclaiming the energy and the power we've given out, reclaiming those pieces of ourselves, reclaiming that energy, reclaiming those parts of ourselves back into that really rich, beautiful environment within, right? And then activating that reality allows us to transcend from within outside, so that what we then have to give to the world outside of us is very different. It's to start off with, it's better quality energy, yeah. And with the shifting of this, or experiencing this inner transcendence, this change, this waking up to a different reality, then it brings in the awareness of a different world view. And so then looping this back into what I've already said, once that shift in world view happens, then those possibilities around unity consciousness, around equality, true equality, the best and highest potential for all comes in, yeah? And the other thing is, of course, that inner transcendence brings about self-mastery. And self-mastery, of course, is another aspect of those ascendant masters that we look to for guidance, like Jesus or Yeshua, Buddha, the different, go for it. There's just so many deities, beautiful, the angelic realms, the galactics, Ashtar, Commander Ashtar, for example, and Merlin, the I want to say the dragons and the unicorn races, yeah. As above, so below as well. Of course, here we have, the beautiful fairies as well, and the gnomes, and just all sorts of beautiful creatures that hold energetically a dimension, a space which is not always so obvious and readily available to us, until we can raise our own frequency, until we open up those third eye and right brain possibilities, right? And when we do that, oh my gosh, the miracles, extraordinary. And so 5D then becomes this possibility of collaborating with all these different realities, yeah? All right, moving on. Oh, here's another really, really key and important one. The understanding of the nature of the feminine, the divine feminine and divine masculine energies, so that those two aspects within can collaborate and work together like yin and yang, yeah, within, where creation meets manifestation, yeah. Just super, super important, just extraordinarily important. I can't even tell you. And it is, in my experience, learning how to navigate this within and then without is actually a lot trickier than what it seems. It's just not simple, because it requires an energetic, it requires self-mastery, and it requires the capacity to be able to translate the energetics and divine aspects of this engine, if you will, or divine intelligence into human understanding in this physical realm. And it's just not a simple or easy thing to do. I'm still very much learning, and by no means do I claim to be an expert. But, you know, this is a journey, and it's amazing that we are actually even talking about this. So let's honor that. What else did I want to tell you? The last thing that I think, going to mention in terms of the characteristics of heaven on earth would be the conscious understanding of quantum principles, as in specifically the divine architecture in terms of Trinity, so the triangle, yeah? So one energy, another energy make a third, the third being the collaborative point, and how many of these trinities make up sacred geometry, including oh my God, why am I getting a blank right now? Let's just call it sacred geometry. And it is this sacred geometry, the crystalline makeup or structure of the trinity of the triangles that create the foundational matrix for 5D as it weaves in and out through all life. Yeah, so understanding Trinity, understanding the quantum aspects of this, and how that's directly related to sacred geometry, which is the laws of nature, and how that translates into how we connect with the flow of nature, and how us as you know, symbiotic creatures, species, connect with everything else, not just between ourselves, but with everything in nature, including, you know, outside of our immediate physical realms, you know, planets, galaxies, universe, etc. So, all right. Here's what I'm feeling right now. What I'm feeling right now is that this is why these different concepts that have emerged over the last handful of years, as the collective consciousness has begun to shift, right? These different concepts allow us then, right, to bring in these new ideas, new possibilities for our race, new possibilities for all the species on planet Earth, new possibilities for the galaxies, for the universes, expressing themselves through this physical matrix. They allow us to tap into a potential that is really quite extraordinary and not quite done before. The potential is huge, and we need to keep talking about it, and then we need to slowly take action. The action we take is the embodiment, the healthy, balanced embodiment of the masculine energy expressing itself within, and then in our immediate everyday environment and moments. And from there, this will then ripple out into a different, not just a different worldview, but as we shift our consciousness to understand that everything is connected, and all of a sudden we will begin to think differently about the way we do business, about the way we interact, knowing that caring for somebody else is actually caring for ourselves. Being able to express unconditional joy, unconditional empathy and compassion and love to ourselves first and foremost, so we are filling up our own cup, and then to everybody else. Spread that peace, man. Sprinkle that good shit over everybody unconditionally, yeah? And also then look after our planet, look after nature. Say thank you to the Industrial Revolution and make a choice about which aspects of those learnings throughout history will continue to benefit us, everybody, in a healthy way equally, and which we don't need anymore and we can let them go. Health, the way we see health will shift when we step more into self-mastery, and when health is a little bit less a business and a little bit more genuine and transparent and holds the energy of integrity, yeah? Education. What else did I write down? Yeah, so I wrote down, things like environment, health, education, industry, and the business practices surrounding these industries or these aspects for the collective consciousness will shift. We're already beginning to see bits and pieces around this, but this will continue to change. So I'm going to bring it back to the beginning now and say to you is that heaven on earth is an idea, a potential that's coming to the collective consciousness. It's always been in the collective unconscious. We are all looking to be happy, abundant, loved, all the time. That's part and parcel of this wanting to experience heaven, this beauty, this place to be, this divine bliss and grace within. So it's not new. It's just been buried deep in our unconscious. It's now surfaced with the waking up of the collective consciousness. It's less of a wake up as a rude shock for some people, I'm sure. But we are beginning to remember how this can be, how we can influence our day-to-day. Why is this important? What this could look like, and how we are absolutely in charge of this. Absolutely. Not only can we do it, we are by divine design missioned, decreed to do this on planet Earth at this time. This is why it's really important to acknowledge this. This is why it's really important to begin to understand this, so that slowly, over the next decade, we begin to completely shift our world view. And we begin to move more steadily away from that win or lose survival patriarchal programming, and move to a much more inclusive unity expression of consciousness. On that note, my loves, thank you so much for listening to this. Feel free to like, share, comment, sit with some of these ideas, write to me if there's anything I can help you with in regards to this. I'm really happy to be there for you, my loves. Take care. Genuinely, all my love to you. Bye.